Okay, so today is Sunday, October 3rd, 8:24 a.m. This is not going to be a normal vlog. This is my video submission for MagellanTV.com Paranormal Dream Job. And it's to binge watch 24 hours of paranormal documentaries. So, a little bit about me. My name is Nicole Ryan. 39 years old. Yeah, I love paranormal. From a very young age, I I've always been comfortable with everything paranormal in a way. The first important person to me who died, I was 5 years old. It was my grandma. On my mom's side, my maternal grandmother. And she died in June. And before her coffin was being lowered, I kissed her coffin. And I burnt my lips. Like, it burned my lips. It was, like, that's my first memory of someone dying. But I've always been comfortable around death, dying spirits. One of my mom's good friends was a psychic when I was growing up. So I was always around psychic fairs and stuff like that. There used to be a spiritual church on Whitehall Road. I live in Albany, New York. And they do messages from, spirits, family members. It actually closed because it was 80s, early 90s. And it's not paranormal, but, like, first horror movie I watched when I was, like, 6, I think. And it was Halloween 4. So I grew up horror movies and paranormal. I am an empath. So there's that. I have depression and anxiety, so it makes it worse. So, most recently, one of my friends was a minister for when I say TSI, Spiritualist Institute. It's a church in Montauk, Massachusetts, by the Bridge of Names. And I would go there with him a few times. I went to his services, and the, head preacher, I don't know if that's, he's really nice. He and I had a few good conversations. They had a well-known paranormal investigative group come to the church one time, and for some reason I could not breathe. Like, once they started, couldn't breathe. And I was reaching out to him telepathically, and he could hear me, but he couldn't do anything because the investigation had already started. And it felt like I was being strangled from the inside out. And I am pretty sure it was by the person. There are a bunch of paintings from like the set of the settlers and everything there. There's one painting I've always been drawn to there, and the man, like, I think he attached himself to me. But I remember there being this bright, bright light, and I thought there was a camera on me when I, came to and everything else. Because, I can't meditate. I go right to trance, and I go, just up and out, and it could take up to 2 hours to wake me up. But, I thought there was like this, I thought there was like a camera on my face because I saw this huge bright light. And I was holding crystals in my hand. And I know they were thrown. I threw them, but I did not throw them. So there was that. I can do, if I put more practice behind it, whatever, I can do readings. I don't. It's just not something that I feel comfortable doing. It's more of an intuition thing. That friend that was a minister, that is a minister, he had given my friend a few readings and gave her some really bad advice. And we were messaging back and forth one day, and I told her more and helped her more than he did in one message. Like, back and forth. That's whatever. But, yeah. I am into paranormal documentaries, into paranormal movies, grave encounters, stuff like that. Love grave encounters. Because I would love to legally go to, like, there's a hospital a couple hours from me, an abandoned girls' school. A friend of mine, an acquaintance, they had gone to the hospital and had taken files. And this is coming from that person. I believe them. I have no reason not to. They took some files and stuff, and they were driving down the road, and the car kept on like sputtering and stopping and stalling and everything else. So, and he just kept doing that, and eventually it stalled, and the person who took the files decided to take them back just to the property. He walked back to the property and put them on the property, and it was fine after that. I don't know. I want to believe that people who have experiences have them. That they just aren't a waste of time and for entertainment value and shock value and, hidden speakers and invisible wire and everything like that. And I hate saying that when there are people who have been, terrorized by, paranormal situations. you know, but it's like so many people want to put on a show, but it's not a show, or it shouldn't be a show, especially when other people are really living these situations. Um, it hasn't happened in a while, but there have been times when I've been sleeping and all of a sudden I'll wake up terrified to move, terrified, like if I'm under my covers, which how I usually sleep, um, where I couldn't move, where I didn't want to like lift the covers because I thought like I was gonna get killed, and it always would feel like, not always, when it happened, it felt like something horrible and evil was standing at my bedroom door watching me. And it happened quite a few times. Not recently, but I thought it was me, like, oh, you're crazy, you just had a nightmare. But then my friend and her son slept over, and she felt the same thing. So it hasn't just been me. And, you know, there have been times when I've been working outside and I hear my name being called, and I'll go inside, ask my mom, hey, did you call out for me? And, she's in her bedroom on the phone. Just stuff like that. So, but I love documentaries. And this might sound messed up. I like death row documentaries, like Last 24 Hours with it's not Pierce Morgan, I know that, but stuff like that. 9/11 documentaries, which, I mean, they're not really documentaries, it's more, street view, because the day of 9/11, I saw the second plane fly over Albany on my way to work. I worked at the state campus at the time, building 11 at the daycare center. My mom worked in building 8, so she had to be to work by 7. I had to be to work by 9, so I would always walk to work. And I was at the light to cross the street, and I stopped a few extra minutes, waited for the next light, because I was lighting a cigarette. And I look up, and it was lower than it should have been, even though the airport is, right, like it would be descending at that point. But I look up, and it was so loud, and it looked like it was going to hit my mother's building. And I just watched it. And all I could think about was, oh my God, my mom is in that building. If it hits that building, my mom, yeah. And by the time I got to work, people kind of knew what was going on because the governor decided to shut down the state. And, I got to work like 5 minutes early, so I'm like messing around and turn on the radio, and a couple minutes later the second plane had hit. And, for the longest time it was a maybe, until I had watched the air traffic control tapes. that were released, and, you know, when they turned off the trackers and everything, you know, and they were watching the planes, and it said, yeah, it's going over Albany. And the only reason why I started watching them was because my therapist, um, died in a freak snowstorm we had in April or May a few years ago. It was a freak snowstorm, and the roads were icy, and she was on her way to work, and she just spun out of control and hit another car, and then she died on impact. Like, her body was mangled. They had to cremate her because, yeah. And then in the newspaper, they said they had to use the jaws of life. Like, her son read that, had to read that, you know. But she was in the city during 9/11, when 9/11 happened, and her husband said by 9/12 she was on the phone calling people and getting people together. And she had counseled the firemen who survived, police, you know, families of firemen, and one of the fire companies gave her a window from one of the towers or one of the buildings and wrote the company name and everything, and gave it to her. So that's why I started watching 9/11 documentaries, especially from the street view, to kind of see if I could see her. But yeah, I never do. I never have. Um, but yeah, so this is my video application. Totally off topic a lot, but thank you for, you know, watching it, and hopefully you pick me. I would love to binge watch 24 hours of horror or paranormal investigative documentaries. If I'm going to stay up for 24 hours, that's a pretty decent way to stay up for 24 hours. And I know the rule said it doesn't have to be within, you know, a marathon of 24 hours, but I would probably do it that way. And yes, I am willing to document and live stream the experience. I think that would be cool too. Yeah. So thank you. And have a good day.